it too, and I was fully excited.
I mean, I don't know what this was, but the old house I used to live at, some weird shit would happen there. I got so many stories from my old house, just the weirdest events that would happen there. And the one time I woke up in the middle of the night, my dad was outside recording with a camera, and he's like, "Look up there." And we looked up at the sky, and there was these discs. They were like white, and they had faces on the bottom of them, like they were looking down, like there was a face on the bottom. It was like two eye slits and a mouth, and they were just these faces in the sky, and they were just sitting there. There was no like beam or nothing. I don't know. It was some weird shit. I don't know what it was. It could have been a spotlight or something, but it was just really weird. My dad has the footage from that camera somewhere in the house. It's on like an old VHS tape somewhere. I always ask him like, "Do you know where this tape is?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'll look for it." Never looks for it. There was so much weird shit that happened at that house. There was like, this is a little unrelated, but there was like ghost phenomena shit there, weird like statics. There was this static that my dad and mom said they seen in their room, and the whole light was filled with this blue energy, like these weird beams all just flying all over the place. But at the time, they thought it was completely normal, and they were just smiling, laying in bed, and they just fell asleep. They didn't think anything was weird at the time. It was almost like they were under this spell where they thought it was normal, and when they woke up the next morning, they were like, "What the fuck was that? Like, did you see what I seen last night?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I also seen it a different night because I went into my parents' bedroom because I was probably like 4 years old, 5 years old, six or something. Because this was before I moved here, and I walked in their bedroom and I went to sleep, and I seen all the beams. I know what they're talking about. It was only in their room. It was the weirdest shit ever. And I didn't think anything of it either when I seen it. I just thought I was tired, my eyes were just fucked up or something, and I was so young I didn't know any better, so. Or maybe I was under the spell too. I don't fucking know, but that's some weird shit. I seen my sister was just born around this time, and she was a baby at the time, and I seen like this baby silhouette on my bed in my room, and it was perfect baby just sitting there crying with the light shining through it, and it was all made of light. Just the weirdest shit ever would happen at that house, and I was so young back then, and I just have the memories to remember it, and it was just the weirdest shit ever. I think that house was definitely haunted too. Like, apparently my parents told me the story about this one time I lost my binky there, and I lost my binky for a long time. Out of nowhere, this remote control car that I had just drove up, and it had the binky on top, and no one was even controlling the remote control car at all. It just was acting on its own. Some weird fucking shit. I gotta ask my parents more stories about that, 'cause that's all I really remember from there. But some weird, weird shit would happen at that location I lived at. The weirdest shit ever. And the weird part is too, I've lived at other houses and I don't remember like weird phenomenon happening at other houses. Here where I live now, there's been a couple strange incidents, like hearing my name whispered, and I think that my parents called me from the other room, but they didn't. It's just some weird shit. The scariest thing that's happened here, I think, in this house now, is I had these jars. They were like these jars my friend gave me that could hold weed or whatever. They were little mason jars, and I had them all up on my shelf. And I don't know if it was the air pressure differentiation, but sometimes it would like make this popping sound, or would go like like this weird like strung out sound. But one day I was just laying there, and I heard one of the jars crack and make this loud screeching sound like someone screaming. And I remember at the time when this happened, I was so shook, like I felt fear run through my body, and I was just stuck there in disbelief, like I was scared out of my fucking mind. I didn't know what the hell just happened. I just felt this rush of adrenaline run through me when I heard that sound. It was just so fucking startling. Like, I feel like some of this shit can be explained away, maybe even all of it, but it's just strange that, I go through some of this shit, and so have my parents. It's just some weird shit that happens to us, but I don't know if anyone else has any stories like that, but I'd love to hear some. The only thing I've ever gotten on camera, though, was that footage of the UFOs in the backyard at my old house with my dad, so hopefully one day I could find that footage again. It's on a VHS tape somewhere. I just remembered two more stories. So my mom was deathly afraid, like, of that house, the old house. She definitely thought it was haunted. And the one night my dad, this is the last story I'm gonna tell, but my dad, he just was in disbelief. He's like, nah, I don't believe in ghosts, they're not real. There's nothing going on here. And he ate some pudding in the kitchen and he threw it in the trash can. And as he was walking away, the pudding cup flew out and flew in front of him on the floor. And he got so scared that he ran upstairs to my mom and was like, I don't know what the fuck happened down there. Like, he was shook, according to him. I heard that story from my parents. I obviously was not around for that. Well, I was, but I was too young and they probably didn't want to spook me or anything. But that house was fucking weird. I wonder, like, whoever's living there now, if they're dealing with some strange shit going on. What happens here seems a lot more tamer. Hopefully nothing followed us from the last house, but, just weird shit. Weird, unexplainable events, man. I'm telling you, it's the strangest shit. Part of me wonders if the experiences I went through, if any of them were real or if they all were explained away. And either of those two options, if people around the world also go through that, because obviously some of the footage has got to be fake. People got to be faking shit. But some of this footage might actually be real. It might just be unexplainable, like, in the way that it is something paranormal or some type of alien or something, or it is explainable, but it's just a really strange fucking event that no one can explain. I don't know, but I definitely went through some shit, so you'd think I'd be more, like, believing in this, but you gotta keep an open mind, you can't just believe every single thing you see. Or hear.